We've got one of our favorite snook flies. It's called the Gurgler. Originally a striper fly, we've adapted it to the saltwater and it drives snook wild. It casts easier in a popper and spits and sputters just as good. Stick around, we're gonna tie one right now. To tie our version of the Everglades Gurgler, these are the materials that you'll need. A long shank 34011 mustad hook. We're gonna use chartreuse thread. The tail's going to be chartreuse bucktail, green crystal flash, some pearl flashaboo. The body, sheet foam cut 2.5 inches long by 1/2 inch wide. Then we're going to have grizzly hackle legs accented by a contrasting color of this crystal chenille Estaz. Finally, we're going to put extra large mono nymph eyes on it for the Everglades Gurgler. First, to start the fly, start the thread right above the point of the hook. Trim off our tag end. Then we'll tie in our matchstick size bunch of bucktail. It's about 2.5 to 3 inches long. Lash that on there. We're going to take 5 to 6 strands of crystal flash, around the hook, down the sides. We want these to be about the same length as the bucktail. Take another 7 or 8 strands of flashaboo. I like to go right down the top with this. Trim this off the same length. Trim up those wild hairs. At this point right here too, it's good to put a drop of glue that bucktail, get that all saturated in there, makes the fly a little bit more durable. Now let's coat the shank of the hook with thread. Doesn't have to be pretty, just needs to have a good base of thread on there so when we lash our foam body to it, it's got something to hang on to. Now we take our 2.5 to 3 inches of foam, 1/2 inch wide, right to the hook eye. Then we come back about 1/8 of an inch, and that's where we make our first segment, and we lash it on right there, just like that. This first segment's very important too. Then we're just gonna segment the fly all the way back to where we tied the bucktail tail in. Okay. Now at this point, take our piece of Estaz, we lock this in on the last segment. We take our grizzly feather, we lock this in also. Now, move our thread back to the front to the first segment. One whip finish to hold it there. Bobbin goes in the cradle. Take glue and put it in each little segment. Now, with the rotary Renzetti, just palmer those through each segment. That gives us kind of like an underbody. I like the contrasting color, the orange and green looks good together. Trim that off. Whip finish once again. The reason we whip finish is if we don't, our thread comes unwound as we use the rotary. Now we just palmer this through, giving the impression of little legs. Get a couple thread wraps on that. Pop the tip off. Now we're ready to fold the foam forward. I'm still working in that one segment. The reason I work to this segment is I want that one bump to be in front of my bill. It helps keep the bill up and gives me a better face. Okay, I get a couple of thread wraps around there. Now I'm ready for the mono nymph eyes. The original fly didn't have this, and this was one thing that I added which made it kind of cute, gave it some personality. It was my personal touch. Now I just flip this up, get my thread right around the eye of the hook, build up some thread wraps. Now I'm ready to whip finish right there. Cut my thread off. Now, if I have excess foam on the bill, you can't leave them this long because if you try to cast them, it'll spiral your line and leader up. So I like to put my scissors right down till I hit the eye of the hook, snip it right off. That's the perfect length right there for the Gurgler. Now, I'm not really sure what they think this fly is, whether it's a shrimp or a skittering little bait fish or whatever, but definitely is an attractor and it catches some fish. I'm telling you what, the Gurgler is a fun fly, easy to throw, it's got great action, you're gonna love it.